Welcome to our kitchen. Today we prepare medieval Brodium Teutonicum from the Liber de Cuquina, an important cookbook written in Latin around the end of the 13th century. We start with ingredients. We need a hen, rosemary, marjoram, mint, parsley, and saffron. First, we cut the hen into pieces and boil it for a couple of hours with 2 pinches of salt. We need a good amount of water because it is a long cooking, but the aim is to end up with just a bit of reduced broth in the pot, with a very intense and pleasant flavor. The cooking time may increase depending on the age and the breed of the hen. If you use a young chicken instead of a hen, the cooking time may be considerably lower. The author suggests this recipe for a fat hen or a capon. As the Brodium Sarracenium that we prepared a few weeks ago, this recipe is collected in the Liber de Cuquina, among others that the author attributes to other culinary traditions. This hen is called Teutonic, but there are also others called, for example, Brodium Hispanicum or Brodium Gallicanum, or dishes prepared ad usum Angliae or Franciae. We don't know how much the dishes that the anonymous author describes are actual foreign recipes or just his interpretation of foods he tried or heard about. In any case, as we saw about Brodium Sarracenium, surely there are additions and changes made by the cook that depend either on his taste or an adjustment to Italian culinary habits. In any case, it doesn't matter whether this plate is authentically Teutonic or not. It is something that in Italy was prepared and considered Teutonic. It is interesting to notice the simplicity of this dish, in which the only spice is saffron. Saffron is one of the most popular spices in medieval cuisine. It appears 50 times in the Liber de Cuquina, whereas pepper is used just 31 times. In Italy, there were 2 main varieties of saffron, one cultivated and the other imported. The second was more costly and priced, whereas the first was less expensive. It was used in any kind of plate, across all social classes, as clearly reported by several medieval and Renaissance authors, such as Pietro Andrea Mattioli, Michele Savonarola, Johannes Bockenheim, and Costanzo Felici. Meanwhile, we steep the saffron in warm water and mince the aromatic herbs. The author of the Liber de Cuquina recommends using mint, parsley, marjoram, and rosemary, without specifying whether they should be fresh or dry. There is no need to use all the herbs, and if you want, you can substitute some of them with the ones you have at your disposal. Choose among dill, fennel, celery tops, pennyroyal, cilantro, sage, or oregano. We recommend anyway to use at least 3 herbs to give aromatic complexity to a dish that otherwise would result a bit too simple. All these herbs are very common in medieval cooking, so just choose the ones you want and you will obtain an excellent outcome anyway. This Brodium Teutonicum recalls other plates that we read in another important medieval cookbook, the Registrum Cuquinae, written in the 15th century by a German cook, Johannes Bockenheim, who worked at the court of Pope Martin V. If you are interested in the Registrum Cuquinae, which is a medieval cookbook particularly easy to read and use for the recipes, simple but delicious, check out our new book on Amazon, Registrum Cuquinae, a medieval cookbook, available in English and Italian in both print and ebook editions. When the hen is almost cooked through, we add the saffron and aromatic herbs and cook for a couple of minutes. To read more ancient and medieval cookbooks and sources of dietetics, check out our Patreon page, in which you also find several articles about historical food. If you're interested instead in ancient foods, check out our book Ancient Roman Cooking on Amazon. To support our work, you can also buy us a beer or purchase our merchandise. You find the links in the description below. Despite the use of very few ingredients, this Brodium teutonicum was delicious. Hen broth well reduced and saffron form maybe one of the best combinations ever, with an intense, complex flavor that somehow can perfectly substitute the sapidity of garum. The herbs, cooked just for a short time, fill this plate with an extraordinary aroma, with flavors that pair with the hen in an incredible way. A very simple dish worth a try to taste all the great variety of one of the most interesting culinary traditions of our history. If you're interested in ancient foods and flavors, subscribe our channel and consider supporting us on Patreon.